Guys, you're on the stream show. You can tell this is the countdown. My name is DJ Strick, or should I say my name is Brant Collins? Should I say that?
My name is Brant Collins. He is DJ Strick, and we are the Stream Guys. And we're just going to be hanging out tonight. It's a Sunday night. Time change. Hope everybody spring forward. So everybody forwarded their clock an hour.
Yeah. Spring
Here we
forward. Go. This is super cool. So I'm getting the notification. So we are live on YouTube. I know that is actually should be over my shoulder right now. Can't show you.
I'm going to go check on it.
Like right here.
I'm going to go check in.
So been working really, really hard this week. Hopefully you really enjoyed the graphics. The new thumbnail look, Brant.
I love it. I told you, I think it was great. I went and saw Batman Saturday night. I love all the superhero comic book stuff, so I think that's awesome. What's up, Richard? Oh, it was really good. Good movie. If you like Batman, you should go see it.
Gotcha.
So you can fatten that up a little bit if you want to.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. For whatever reason, it won't. Hello, all. Let's just try this one.
You grab it by the edge. There we go.
All right, there we go.
Just grab it by the corner. Should be able to scale it up. There you go. And what you can do is drag the end in. Drag the empty end. Drag it to make it shorter, and then you can expand it. Live tutorials. It was 3 hours long, Richard. It was a long movie, but it was good. It's not your typical action flick. I mean, it's really just it's more about almost more of like a detective thing. So it was good. I really enjoyed it, but I like all that kind of stuff. What's up, Rich? Rich is in the building.
It's just not that easy over here, Brant.
Can you go over to however you're looking at, to the right side of it and make it shorter? Drag it short. Right in the middle, not the corners. There you go. Now scale it up. Now you can drag it by the corner. Hey, look at that.
There you go.
And there you go.
Who knew? If I just worked on it a little harder, there it is. So
listen to me. I know. I'm using the force on you.
There you go. Oh man. We actually have Promo Tech here. Do you know who Promo Tech is?
I do not. Do you?
I'm just happy you're hanging out with us today. Yeah. Definitely, we're here. 2 channels. Okay, there you go. Steve Worthy, what's good, Strick and Brant? Steve, what's good with you, sir? Thanks for hanging out with us. Alex, man, it's good to see you hanging out with us today. Appreciate you coming by the stream show. Good to see you.
Very,
Brant,
very good.
We have a lot. We did a lot this week, more than we ever have working on the stream show. And I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, I think what we tried to do is make multiple content out of our 1 hour show, which we just have failed at miserably in the past because of just work and family and time. We both work full-time jobs. And I think we figured out how to make some shorts. We figured out how to make some, how to edit in YouTube, make some things quicker. You turned around some stuff, and then I copied it and made it into a short with Canva. Then you copied what I did and made it a reel, and then
I just couldn't. I saw some stuff that Brant did, and I just like, Brant, you know what? You're not gonna outdo me. So
that's one thing I've realized with Strick. It's all about competition. So if I post something, he'll post 2.
Sometimes I can be really, really competitive. And yes, this is Mr. Pippins. This is the Ecamm software we're using today. It's really cool, man. We get a chance to do a lot with this software, even watching our countdown. Because in just a few minutes, we're going to go through this little portal, and it's going to jump us right into the show. This is the countdown.
There you go.
So Brant and I get a chance to kind of catch up and talk about some of the things that, we've done while people are coming on. System is actually connecting all over the place.
1, here we go.
There we go. I am DJ Strick.
I'm Brant, and we are the Stream Guys. So welcome to the Stream Show.
To have you guys on the Stream Show, and you just saw it went by really quick, but hey guys, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you over there, but we have people that are even in the Ecamm community right now watching this, and if you're watching inside the Ecamm community, you could also shoot. Some of those people may be in San Diego.
Hello to everybody in San Diego at the social media conference. Wish we could have been there, but nobody invited us. Strick, what's up with that?
You know, it just is what it is, right?
Yeah, it does look like a lot of fun. I would love to go next time.
Yeah, Rich says it's always make him nervous watching y'all run up against the clock. Yeah, man, it's just part of it.
It's all automatic.
Yeah, we I don't know. It just makes the show a little fun doing that. So, what a way to start this particular show. And everybody's in the comments greeting each other. If you're new to our show, just say hello. We have an audience that, you know, they talk to each other. They want to know who you are, what you're doing. If you're a content creator, welcome to the show. Our job here, all right, Kevin Cox, our job here is to help you be successful at whatever level of content creation you're doing, especially if you're streaming.
Yes. And like Kevin Cox said, thank you very much, Kevin, for letting everybody know. Come to the YouTube page, watch over here, and make sure you hit the like button because, you know, like all of us on YouTube, we're trying to get to that partnership program. So the 4,000 hours and 1,000 subs. So we got a little bit to go, but, you know, doesn't stop us from just keep streaming. So, but we would like to get your help to get up to that point. So
not a problem at all. Brant, we have done a lot of transition. We've talked about this in the last show. I really feel like the first quarter of 2022, like everything we thought we were going to do last year that 2022 was going to be about, it's a little different. Like we've learned so much.
Yes.
One of the people that has been around our group, has been with us for a while. He has also done some transitioning of his business, and he's doing very well. The thing I like about him, he's probably one of the hardest working content creator that I know. Like he's like always out there. He's doing what we started to do last week. So he's been doing it for, you know, as long as I've known him, and we've just started, you know, finding ways to multi-purpose our content. And I've watched him. I was like, man, we got to do what Ash is doing. Like, this guy is killing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's really killing it. That being said, I want to bring him onto the show. We're going to get a chance to talk to Ash and start the stream show today with some content that will help you. If you don't know Ash, by the end of this, you're going to absolutely fall in love with this guy. And it won't be because he has a very strange accent. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about that at all. So let me bring him on to the show. Ash, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, guys. You're right. I am glad I made it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we had daylight saving time. So, yeah.
They don't do that in
so
England,
excited.
do they?
I love hanging out with you guys. No, yes and no. I kind of had a feeling. So I was looking at my phone going, I'm waiting for Brant to text me going, where are you? And literally, I got that text.
Yeah.
But
that was,
I love hanging out.
We didn't think about it. Strick was like, oh, we changed time. I was like, oh no. So.
Yeah, same thing with String. She's actually in a meeting right now, expecting to be on with us in 40 minutes. So I'm going to contact her. She'll probably come on at the end of the show, but no worries. We're going to have her on. We're going to get a chance to talk to you, Ash, about all the stuff that's happening in the world of content creation. And with you, like you have, as a content creator, I feel like you have compartmentalized it right. Like you have the right structure. So I want to help people that are trying to figure it out. Like this is what you need to do. And of course, everybody's an individual. Me and Brant, we go back and forth. How do you do this? How do you do this? We've decided that, hey, Brant's going to do that, and I'm going to do this. And we both are trying, but you have a formula that you're using right now that I really like. And if people could really grab a hold to how you do this. And I think, you know what? Sometimes they say just give them the information first. and then the details. And the first thing that I think I want to give everybody, at the end of the day, this is some hard work.
Yes.
Like, you just got to work. Like, there's a lot of work. Now, let me tell you exactly what kind of work Ash is doing so you can break it down and decide, like, really, do you want to be a real content creator? All right. So the first question that I have for you, when we talk about a lot of transition starting this year off, for you, how important is it for a brand to be able to transition themselves? So you're a content creator with a brand, things change. How important is it for you to be flexible with that change?
I would say it's probably one of the most important things you possibly can do, because if you are stuck, and you're what I love the quote. I think the quote is, "What got you here won't get you there." And I think the reality is, if you are stuck trying, with what you have, there's kind of sunk cost fallacy. This idea of like, YouTube has always worked for me, so I'm not going to try shorts, or podcasting has always worked for me, so I'm not going to go to LinkedIn, whatever it may be. You'll lose. So you've got to be flexible. You've got to be, in my opinion, you've got to be stuck with this idea of know what your brand is about, know what is not negotiable, but then also be willing to move around with everything else. I do apologize, by the way, a big old cut on my head. My son decided to smack me in the head this morning, so I do apologize.
That was a great idea for him. Listen, if he's not smacking you, he's not loving you.
Yeah. He just hit me with a toy train. I was like, wonderful.
Buy that kid a lightsaber. I'm saying. Yeah. Hey, one of the things I want to ask you, when you talk about hard work, I had discussed this with you offline. Tell us about that, how you just made that commitment. You and your wife, you chose a minimalist lifestyle, and you kind of made this commitment that you could have made more money doing something else, but this was kind of a commitment you and your wife made together.
Absolutely, yeah. So me and my wife, like I said, I made the decision. I worked in the finance industry originally, and before that, I was actually a performing arts, like singer, actor, dancer, and I worked in the finance industry, was doing very well, and I remember sitting down with my wife. I just kind of landed this job. Me and Brant, we were literally talking about this yesterday, weren't we? And I was saying, like, I landed this job, and I sat down with my wife and said, this job will change the trajectory of our life, like financially. And I was like, and this is going to be one of these jobs where it's amazing financially, and we're going to be able to do all the things that everybody tells you want. And I was like, and if you want me to do this, then I'll do it. I said, but the truth is, I'll be miserable and I'll hate it, and I won't be able to pursue the passion. I said, but if we remortgage our, and we were like full on talk about hard work. I was like, if we remortgage our house and present it to her in this way, I was like, and you work for a year and I don't, and I wake up, from the moment I wake up till the moment I go to sleep, then maybe we could make something happen. Maybe we wouldn't have to be destined to live a life that was purely, the one that I knew would happen, this kind of mundane life. And we did it, and we committed, but by doing that, we committed to minimalism, essentialism, and over time it formed into other things. But yeah, like, it was a real commitment to this. So when you talk about hard work, when people ask me, like, how do I do it? Well, it was just, I remember having a bit of a meltdown on the dining room table and going, I don't know what to do. And my wife said to me, well, are you I said, I've got no clients. And she said, well, are you making content every day? I was like, no. And she said, well, from the moment you wake up, you should make a video, a blog. Like, you should we all know, the kind of perfect thing, create all the 3 pieces, repurpose them, cut them into things. She said, and every single day, if you've not got clients, do that every single day with 1 piece of content until you get one new client, and then that 1 turns into 2, and 2 turned into 4, and 4 turned into 8. But it was hard work, and a commitment to fully being all in. And that was, it's hard. Paid off.
I love it that you got your motivation from your wife, but having an idea, and of course having some accountability at home for doing all of this. What about the content creator that, it's a hobby, it's a side hobby for them? Like, don't have any, I guess, a budget, a home budget that's set for their content creation, how do they kind of get to that point to where they're able to, really focus the way they need to do the work? Because it's, 8 hours at work, and then you come home and you got to do, 2 or 3 more hours on content creation to be able to get a foothold into this market. Help me with that.
Yeah, so I this is something me and my wife have been chatting. My wife's kind of my coach, really, my
I love that.
team member. Like, without her, this would be, she's the back end and I'm the front end, but without her, everything we do wouldn't work. And we've been chatting about this recently because she's been trying to do YouTube, and same thing, raising a child, very, very hard, and full time. Me and Brant were talking about this yesterday. She grows her own food and for all of us and things, so it's quite hard. And we were literally talking about this because it's exactly this. It's very difficult if you've got like a full-time job and then you're trying to create this thing on the side, which I was doing when I worked in finance. But the biggest thing comes down to, I think, if it's a hobby, I think you have to compartmentalize it as a hobby. So and this is something that for the people watching this, if you are somebody, say you're on YouTube, you're doing a streaming show, let's keep it relevant to the stream show. So you're doing a streaming show once a week. If it is purely going to be a hobby, enjoy the process of making it. Don't worry about the numbers. Enjoy the whole thing as a hobby, and don't maybe try to build it to a business. And then don't beat yourself up when it's not a business, because you don't have to hit the 4,000 hours of watch time, and you don't have to hit all that stuff if it is a hobby. Now, if you want it to be your future career, then you have to suffer a little bit, and you've got to commit to it. You've got to find that, and it's not motivation, it's discipline.
Right.
And that's something that I'm a big fan of, and that's something I very much notice very quickly. If this is going to be your career and you really want to make this, you want to find a way to get out of your day job to do this, then you've got to find ways that you can repeat. You've got to create like SOPs in the business world. You've got to create like standard operating procedures that allow you to replicate content over and over and over again and distribute. Very different to a hobbyist. We've all seen, it's like anything. If you look at DIY people, they're not using the same tools as the real tradesman because it's a different thing. And I do think in the content world sometimes, it's quite outspoken with this, but I think sometimes, I meet hobbyists, and then you can meet someone who's like, this is their career, and we get lumped in as everyone's a content creator.
Right.
And I don't think it's very good for mental health, and I don't think it's very good for other people's expectations. What do you want from it? And then be real, and then go after that. And that stops you from getting burnt out and feeling a bit overwhelmed, in my opinion.
I love it. So Alex says, hey, I really applaud the commitment and dedication, Ash. And then one shout out to Hannity, who's hanging out with us tonight. Brant, Ash just got a lot of people off the hook. I love his statement. If you're a hobbyist, just enjoy it. And I'm one of those kind of people that I always say, whatever you do, find a way to enjoy it. And if you're not putting in the work that it takes to do it, don't expect the outcome that a serious company, somebody that's serious about, this is my full-time gig, don't expect the same type of outcome. What do you feel about that, Brant?
Well, I think that's, I had my own business for 8 years, and there was plenty of meltdowns on the kitchen table, because I didn't know exactly what I was doing, creatively, and I know how to be a marketer and ad agency and videos. But when you start talking about business and, like you said, not motivation, but just the determination to get up every day because when you're the business owner, it all falls on you. So there's a lot of stress to that. I do believe that there's someone asked me the other day, I did a coaching session with a friend of mine, and he was like, does it have to be a business? Well, he approached me saying he wanted to do this for a living. And I said, yeah, if you want to do this for a living, make you a small business plan and just figure this out. If not, just be a hobby and don't put any pressure on yourself, and see if you even like it. Go make 30 videos or 2 videos or 1, whatever, and see if it's even what you want to do, because it is a repetitive grind. And I'm not downplaying it. I'd rather sit in the way I look at it is I need to make extra money for my family. I can make more money sitting here at home doing this than I can go get a second job, right, at McDonald's or wherever else. So, and everything that I've ever done from the stream show to my original show, Beer Utopia, got me to the next place. So my job, this show got me the job as content creator for the library. So none of it's wasted, as I believe, because you're learning something. You're learning skills. You're learning. But I also like exactly what you said is the best way. If you just want it to be a hobby, have fun with it, but don't expect it to be, make $1 million a month because you bought a course. It's just not going to happen.
I think
that's just my thing.
But just to echo what you're saying there, Brant, because I agree with you, and this is something, the shift for me was, and to be fair, Strick, I think me and you even spoke about this like 6 months ago when you were on my show, like after that, like, because for me, the penny drop moment was, you see this thing of like, do one video a week, do one piece of content a week, do, the average or the minimum, and one thing that kind of struck me with more and more I spoke with creators, I was like, but when in life did you get in this to be average?
Come on.
Did you get in this business to get the minimum? Because like
I love it, Ash. I'm going to be like I'm in like church, man. I'm just going to amen you down from over here.
Amen.
Amen. Like,
just so
who
true.
wants to be average?
You don't. You know what I mean? And that was where like I had so many people with me with my output going, you need to slow down. You need to. And I was thinking, well, and the mindset I found, and this is what you're saying, Brant, it's like if it's a business, like I was in sales for a long, long time. Like we didn't make one call once a week and go, well, you know what? Let's leave it. We don't want to oversell it, And so I was like, you go to work every day. And so you have to treat most of these people, and with all due respect, most creators I meet are trying to make it a business, and they're not putting the effort that they would do as a business into it, and then they wonder why. And then I get it a lot where people will say, how have you done it? And I'm like, well, because I applied 10 hours a day I've been doing it since 2017 and I've never missed a day. And that's why. Now that's not a brag. I would never subscribe that to my clients. I don't think it's a good idea, but I had no other choice.
Right.
Let's talk about value, and you talk about work. You had explained to me yesterday, if you don't know, Ash and I did a podcast.
We hung out for ages.
Stream on my show.
We love each other.
Star Wars.
We've been on each other's show. Everybody, like Ash, been on. I've been on his show. He's been on his stream show. And yesterday they had a chance to hang out. Come on, keep going.
So you told me this decision. So I was on his podcast. You interviewed me, and I haven't seen it. And you made some decisions about that show and interview. And can you explain that? Because I think it was very intelligent and very, I don't know, that is the business part of it, where you had to cut something that you really love to do because it wasn't bringing the value that you wanted.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk that. That was like so me and Brant were talking about this because I had an original podcast that I was interviewing. I was interviewing lots of people, and that was really, really great, and the show did really well. But me and Brant were talking about it, I kind of found that the show stopped from a business point of view. It started becoming more about the idea I wanted to be around cool people. I wanted to be around people like you guys. I wanted to be around people like Rob and Doc and all the people you've had on the show. But I was speaking to so many of them that I'd really forgot the listener. I'd forgotten who the listener was. I'd forgotten I was doing it for me, very self-indulgent, which if you're going to do it as a business, you can't do that. You can't be making content for yourself because no one's going to buy that. And so I had this hard decision, and it was again with my wife on a dining room table chatting and going, I'd interviewed you, and because that's me and you were chatting about it, and I said I interviewed you, but the problem was I then kind of had to sit down and look at my show, and I was like, this is not my best work, and actually I need to make this about, I laser focus it down, talking about being able to transition. That was really hard. That was the first time. It's that sunk cost fallacy. I'd put all this time and effort, cultivated these relationships, love all you guys. But I looked at the show and I was like, who's it helping? Because right now there's a million other shows out there interviewing content creators about content creation.
Right.
So why is mine any better? And it isn't. So So tell the
truth, Ash. You came onto our show. You saw what we were doing. She's like, I can't compete with that. Let me do something else.
No, but yours is laser focused. Yours is niched. I mean, we were literally chatting about this yesterday. The stream show is super niched. Mine had lost its way. Now it built traction because it was the personal branding secrets show. So it's all about personal branding. Somewhere along the way, we lose track. And so I had that moment of going, okay, let's just go back to the drawing board and completely change the show, revamp the show. I unlisted all the episodes. That was really hard. They're still available on the YouTube channel, but they're not available on the podcast. And it was a really difficult decision. But the truth is, we need to do that. Sometimes if we're in the business of being creators, not in a hobby, we have to be willing to be self-aware, to look at what the market is, what the gap in the market is, and I could fill it. And every moment that was not, and I don't want to get too deep into that, but it was just a hard decision. But my gosh, in 6 weeks of doing it, completely changed the trajectory of the business already.
Wow.
And that I think you have to be willing to do that. You have to be willing to go.
And I think in anything creative, music, video editing, film production, photography, graphic design, the hardest part or what makes you a professional is what you take out, right? It's the edit. So we have an editor when you work for, an art director or something. It's not, it's usually trying to take away things because as a creative, you want to put, as a graphic designer when I was young and even in editing, I was, the joke is someone's new to editing when you have 50 transitions in a video piece, right? There's a swipe, there's a wipe, there's a I only use a crossfade now and maybe a fade to black, so, you as the more experienced you get, you start learning how to take things out. So, but it is hard because you worked really hard, to make all those episodes. So kudos to you for having that honest decision. I've had to do it before too. And it's super hard because you're so vested in it, it kind of becomes a part of you, but you
all
have
the creators have been so supportive of it, Brant, though. Like all of them, I've not had a single, I have one person who's funny because the thing is I love all you guys. Like, and I'm like, look, I'm really sorry. Like, and the hardest bit was like ego plays. I had like Nick and Owen and all these people that I was like, people really care.
Right.
And they don't. And they don't care. But the reality, they don't care. But and I was like, and it's been really hard. But I'm like, but I want a video of me and Nick Nimmin chatting. But I was going through it and I'm like, but it's not relevant to the people. And so I have to remove that. And
Gotcha.
So that's, I think the creators get it. And in fact, everyone I've spoken to has been like, what a great idea. I love what you're doing. And fine, don't worry about it.
Well, I think let me say this. There's a couple of things I want to share, but I want to share a testimony of really, really quick, guys. And it's from Hannity, and she's actually watching us on YouTube, saying that she helped her daughter start a YouTube channel. And it was a hobby at first, and then it turned into a real deal show. And 2 years ago, they got up to, let me get the second one. They got up to 117K subs on that channel. And now they're beginning to build courses on how to do it. Hannity, thanks for chiming in.
That's awesome.
Let's talk about the cycle. So for content creators, we started with work, okay? And I believe we dropped a couple of people, Brant, when we say it's going to be hard work. Because everybody wants to know, like, the secret. And that's the secret sauce.
5 tips.
So, they want the 5 tips of how to do it. And let me get Ecamm. And Ecamm does all this cool stuff. And it does. And we love Ecamm. And there's a cycle, I believe, and guys, you can help me with this, that you go through as a content creator. If you're doing it right, Ash and Brant, you're going to get on the nerves of your current subscribers. Yeah. That's the first thing. You're going to lose subscribers. So if you start posting every day, twice a day, the content that you need to be posting, you've already got family members that don't care about what you're doing. You got friends that are on your pages that don't care about what you're doing, could care less about whatever your niche is, and you're going to lose those people. They're not going to watch it. So your numbers are going to go up because everybody's excited about what you're doing. You're starting a new business, and if you know anything about starting a new business, your friends are excited for the grand opening, and then that's it. But after you do it for a while, guess what? Whatever platform, if you're doing it right for that particular platform, it does pick you up. And people that are looking for you will start seeing it. And then you have, you get 20, you get 30, and you have 100 views on something. You're just like, how did that catch? Well, the system understands what you're, if you're doing the content right, understand who your viewer is and would put it in front of them, and that starts the ball to roll. But you have to put in the work. You have to be putting the content in on a consistent basis where people and the system will know, okay, this guy's got something coming up. I know what he's looking for or what he's trying to do in this video. Let me put it in these people. And once those people start clicking on it, they share it with more people. And then they share it with more people because it is they know where you're going now. Does that make sense? That cycle, you start good, you go down, and then once you constantly put that content out, you start a snowball effect where you can grow.
I think in a lot of business, even when I still consult with businesses, if you're trying to talk about marketing, they market to themselves. They're like, well, I think, and I like, and I do, and, you know, I want a commercial with this music, and I want a commercial with this color and this scheme. And I'll ask them, who's your target audience? Who are you speaking to? And nobody has ever answered me that question from Fortune 500 company down. There's just somebody in charge, a marketing director or a CEO that says, I want to be this, right? So sometimes, and I think we all are I know Strick is, and I know Ash, we're all kind of entertainers. We want to do this. We love doing this. So there is a selfish part of it that you want. It's like, I want to do a show like Gary Vaynerchuk, you know, and that sometimes is not listening to the audience or listening to the analytics and seeing, you know, what you should be doing, you know, instead of just like Ash said, just passionately going down different holes, you know. And that's okay, I think, too, at the beginning, just to see what sticks, or what you like. But at some point, if you're going to make it a business, you're probably going to have to settle down, you know.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I mean, when I first started doing this, I was like going down every rabbit hole. And I was making gaming videos. I was doing, like, I did it for my business, but then I was trying all different things. And what you'll start to realize, and I think this is just a kind of testament to what you guys are saying, you'll start to, when I started making content in different niches, what I started to realize was, like, I started going, okay, what works, what doesn't work, but also started realizing that the overwhelming feedback was people quite liked me on camera. Now, I would never have known that. It wasn't the niche, it was the me. Now, a lot of the time they were like, I really like you, just the topic's dull. So gotcha. You've got to keep doing new topics until you find your one, you know. And it's took me, realistically, 2021, the end of 2021, December time, was when I kind of started to think about it, and then really January where I changed. And that I've been doing content full time since 2017, so a long time of a lot of swings and misses before it actually started to take.
But is
shape,
that not the reality of this? You know, I mean, I understand some people in the pandemic hit the wave of the pandemic and knocked it out of the park, but for a lot of people that are doing content creations, I mean, you're talking about a 5-year swing.
I think the dots connect. You know, it sounds so silly, like these dots connect when you look back at them, but you don't think of it at the time. So, like, I was watching Mr. Beast being interviewed by Joe Rogan on his show on Spotify, and they were talking about how YouTube was, you know, such a great thing back in the day, and how, like, you know, 2006, 2007, that was when you know, like, people who were early adopters of the platform. And it was really funny because I remember I can't have my own domain name because I already got it in 2007. And so I was like, oh, I was doing the same thing I'm doing now, but in 2007, but I never really connected those dots. Right. So I think if you do, as you say, I think you probably find everything you guys have done. You two are glowing examples of it. DJs, you know, radio.
Right.
We don't know that this stuff is going to all connect. And while we're in the moment, it can feel a bit chaotic. But at the end, it all kind of, I do feel like it does all align eventually. But then what will happen is it'll only align. It's like a full moon, you know. It aligns for a little bit, and then it goes again. And then you're like, oh gosh, what am I going to do? So I think you've got to get used to living in that chaos and know that it will. There's got to be something out there that's going to make it line up again later. Trust the process.
Well, another thing you have to remember too is, like, when I was a promotions producer for UPN 38, and my job was to take, you know, to make all the promos you see during the show, you know, like tonight on the Hughleys, girlfriends, whatever. And they would send all the stuff to me, and I'd edit it, and they'd get the voiceover person. So this is all reel to reel back then, tape to tape editing. And then I would put it on the air, and it would run. So you'd have one that you would just run maybe once every, you know, in the 4 quarters of the day, you would run it once every 6 hours or so. And my boss came to me once and said, I've seen that promo like 20 times this week. I need you to do another one. And I was like, but you have the TV on the channel and you're looking for it every day. And we're all watching it every day. Nobody's seeing it. You're one chance in a million that you actually saw it. So you have to run it. And that happens to yourself because you're like, I've been doing the same videos. I've been doing the same thing. It's boring. I need to do something. That's yourself because you're so hyper-focused and looking at it all the time. That next video might be the first time somebody discovers you. So it just takes, you got to keep priming the pump. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Completely. Like something I say to clients when I'm like consulting, and that makes sense, one on a personal level and one on this client level. So the client thing is, like I'll sit with them and say, on average it takes 8 to 10 online interactions before someone is willing to move to that next step of the funnel, whether that's a purchase, whether that's a call, whatever it may be. And I say, it's 8 to 10 online interactions. If you're uploading something once a week, then in the perfect world, that's 8 to 10 weeks. But then most social platforms, you'll be lucky if you're getting 5% exposure to your current audience. So this is where that was the math I worked out when I was doing my own stuff. Was like, you're talking about the way that we feel like we're bombarding our audience. But the truth is, most people, that's why it takes 1 year to 2 years for us to see results if you're doing this average approach, because most people can take a full year before they've even seen that full 8 things. And and that's where sometimes we don't see it that way. Now, to echo my own personal story with that, Brant, is a similar thing. I do daily content on my YouTube channel. That messes with your head because I do daily content and I'm actually 90 days ahead. So I've got 90 days worth of daily videos on YouTube created. So for me, I feel like every video is an absolute flop because when it comes out, I'm like, well, that video didn't do well. It's only got X amount of views. Well, that's because it's daily. And also I've made 90 since the last of that come out. So it just is a really weird way to track it. And so you feel like everything's failing because you're like, well, I'm just talking about the same things over and over again. And you're not. It's just, you say, it's just because we're in this echo chamber all the time. It's very weird. I've even got it written literally on my iPad. As soon as I open it up, it's like, don't focus on it. Because it becomes a real weird echo chamber the more you get ahead.
Man, I really hope people are leaning in on this. Like, this is some good stuff for people that are content creators. Like, if you're really trying to get out there, I need you to slow down just a little bit. Michelle, thanks for hanging out with us. She's actually chiming in.
I love Michelle. I just want to say I saw her pop up, and I was watching her yesterday on Walter's show. Michelle, you're amazing.
I saw Geraldine popped up in here too. The living water quilter.
Yep. So we got people popping in, and Hannity is also saying that she heard this said that your passion is for you, but your purpose is for others, and how you serve others. And I do feel like as a content creator, if you're building content, like the mission of our show is to help streamers succeed. That's the reason why we're doing this show. We want the people that are watching this to succeed at streaming, at building content. And the way they do that is hearing from people like Ash, of course, hearing from people like Brant, and all I got to do is ask questions, and that it makes it really easy. That being said, I really feel like, Ash, when you talk about how you build and you're 90 days out, like, this is amazing that you have such a systematic approach at building content, because you're basically saying, hey, I've produced a video, I made one, but I've also published one. So in your head, it's hard to even get an understanding of the one that you've made is not getting seen because it's 90 days out, and the one that you just put out, because you're putting out so much content, it still has to take time to gain steam and to get visibility, right?
Yeah.
How do you overcome that? Like, I know you said it plays with your head, and I'm talking about talking for content creators that are doing one piece a week now. So for you to be building a piece every day, like, this is blowing our minds. We've heard of people that are trying to do the whole, like last year somebody did a blog every day. Every day, and I think that there's some aspects of that works, and then there's some aspects to it, if you're not doing the right way and niching down and building some marketing around it, that could hurt you as well. But explain, how it is for you and how you're able to still kind of fight through the content creation and the numbers game.
Yeah, of course. No, it's an interesting one. So I follow like everything I do is very systems and processes, everything. You wouldn't be able to do this if you didn't. I don't mean like be a content creator. I mean like do what I set my goal out to do. It would be impossible to do if I didn't have a system and a process and a paint by numbers and all that stuff. So I follow quite a strict rule, which right now has gone up, but it was originally, I follow a rule of 1 out, 2 in. So I always make a minimum, it's not always the same at community, sometimes it'll be more, but a minimum of 2 videos a day if I'm publishing one. And I think all creators should follow this, is this idea of not every day, but if you're releasing one a week, you should be making 2, because then you're always getting yourself ahead. If you think about, if you do that for 6 months, you've now a year out. And if you have a desire for this to be and this is what keeps me going, by the way, from stop focusing on the numbers. If you want this to be a business, or you have any desire to do something, for example, let's take Michelle, because I was watching Michelle yesterday with her course she's just released. So this course, if you're a content creator and you want to now start making premium content or courses and things like that, you have to find a way to be able to factor that into your time. And because it's your creative time still, you've got to make it. So this 1 in, 2 out, this 1 out, 2 in approach allows me to, and anyone, to create this buffer, so that you do 6 months, you're now a year ahead. I'm currently doing 1 out, 3 in, to try and really create buffers so I can do some premium content. That approach, as well as a kind of a very much, it's like a 28 whatever step thing that I know every piece of content goes through, that approach kind of stops me from focusing on the numbers. That being said, it's still hard. It's still hard, and I find the hardest thing is comparison. As much as I would love, and we all sit here, don't we, and go, don't worry about what people think, and don't worry about the numbers, and don't worry about that. You know what, Brant, shut up about the 4,000 hours of watch time at the beginning. Don't be silly. And then I'm sitting there going, but I really want the 4,000 hours of watch time, and I haven't. Right. Do you know what I mean? It's like we all have this feeling. So I think for me, I just try to keep myself busy. And I find that was the easiest way. And why I moved to daily, because I don't know, you guys might resonate with this, and people listening, you might resonate with this. I was overthinking. About this idea of the quality, that it needed to have something change every 4 seconds. I was really overthinking, and I listened to a podcast that changed. Alex Sanfilippo from Podmatch has a podcast called Podcasting Made Simple, and his mentor is Seth Godin, and not Seth Godin. Seth Godin. I was thinking, yeah, it is. Of course it is. And he was saying about how he sat down with Seth, and Seth said to him, "You've got 400 blog posts in a drafts folder ready to go." So, and he was like, "Who are they helping?" And it was really powerful, because I was driving the car at the time, and I listened, and I was like, I easily have like 600 ideas for a niche specific podcast, because my brain's thinking about it. And I was like, but I'm worried about making them, because they don't have every 4 seconds something isn't happening, it was a really weird shift. And that's where you say, how did it is? I think it's maybe a higher calling. It's when all of a sudden I was like, I need to stop looking at this as, what do people look at me and go, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing at editing and he's so good. And I was chatting to you about it, Brant, yesterday. I got to a point where I was too busy trying to impress all of you that I forgot that my people I was really trying to reach are people who don't care. I couldn't even tell the difference between the two. Right. And I came home that day, and I have to listen to that show, and it was toyed up. It was coupled up with also going out for lunch with a friend of mine who was moaning that his life wasn't as good as it could be, and I realized because he wasn't doing any action. And then I heard this show, and I came home, and I literally made like 22, 23 episodes in about 4 or 5 hours. I just stayed up all night.
Wow.
I just went through and just made, and I've just been on that ever since. And I think so to go over to for all of you guys to understand that, I think you just have to have a greater purpose behind it. It has to be a reason. And then I was like playing play chicken with the ideas now. It's like, okay, can I actually run out? Because when I run out, fine, I'll have like thousands of pieces of content. I'll take a break then. But let's just see if I actually can run out, because the other stuff doesn't seem that hard anymore. So.
I love it. And I want to say hello to Kathy Walker as well, hanging out with us today. Ash, man, you really, really helped us out. Brant, what do you think about having a catalog of that many shows like ready to go every day?
I think you need to get to work, Strick. No, I'm just kidding. I think one of the things.
In some ways.
Well, we decided to do this show live because it is, well, it's more than a hobby for us, but this is the time that we could make it work. But yes, we started making, editing down some content and stuff this week in shorts and TikTok and all that stuff to help it, to do more because we know we need to do more.
Right.
But it is a daunting task when you have, a full-time day job. It just is. And I think the call it imposter syndrome or second guessing yourself, or me and I do it all the time. I'm going to go left. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I got to, and sometimes, like you said, you just got to roll up your sleeves, do it. And my success in the past has always become that's why we do the show live. I always say yes to things when people say, hey, can we do this? Strick says, let's do the show. Okay, let's do it. Because I know if I just jump in and do it, I'll do it. If I have a month to do it, you'll overthink it. Well, we can't do this because we don't have the right camera. We can't do that because we don't have the right So those excuses and research and all that stuff kind of gets in the way of just doing the work. So sometimes it's just better to do it, fix it. Living, the web is living media. It's not print where you're spent $5,000 and made a spelling error. You can change it every day, right? So just keep moving, right? Just keep kind of pivoting and you'll find your way. So, and I need to take that advice for myself, because I do. I've redone my own personal channel 3 times since Christmas. Graphics, designs, logos, I've pages and pages of brand notes of how I want to be. And then I just, just don't do it because you're just too hung up on making it perfect, I guess,
I think just on that, because something that, and I agree with you completely. And I also think, for one thing is like, for me, it was just stop trying to edit. I just use things like Ecamm. Like I'm excited to use Ecamm, wait for my Mac to arrive because it's like this stuff like this means you don't need to actually, you don't need to edit. But one thing that I would say is like, as you said, like I was always trying to be something. I was always like, I'm going to be this guy. And it was always never, my niche, so to speak, was not. It was always what I was telling people I was going to be. The shift has happened when I started asking people, what do they see me as? Okay. And
yes,
and that was a really weird. I guess that comes with more like time and experience, but that was the shift. It was like talking to all of you, people like yourself and that, like, and talking to people like in our community that we have. And then also I realized that in the YouTube space, a lot of the YouTubers that I knew saw me as the podcast guy. And then when I started looking at my analytics and data, it was like, well, why are all my podcasting videos doing really well? And then wait a minute, all the success I've had has been in podcasting. And it was very strange. Then when I started asking people, I was like, well, that's when it would, I always say like your niche is a little bit like Harry Potter's wand, it picks you. And I think there's so many people I meet who are like, could be amazing in one thing. And it's so obvious what the niche is, but they can't see it because they're too busy saying, but no, I'm this person. You're 6'10" and you want to be a soccer player. Well, maybe you'll be a really good basketball player if you actually tried.
I love that.
And it's that type of thing.
I love that. That's really good. So adding the piece of like, who do you go after to say, or how did you do it? You say, I asked my people and they helped me find this. What was it like for you? And talk about how you transition from talking about podcasting and content creation to what you're doing now.
Yeah, no. So when I got into this, I was doing personal branding. What does that mean? Who knows? That was the problem I had.
Gotcha.
Like it was like it was so personal. The business had kind of moved into more kind of self-help, and that was not really what I'm a very technical process guy. And so then I started talking about content creation and content marketing, and that's the stuff I love. But I couldn't figure out why people, what it was people weren't interested in it, because they need a pill to be able to swallow it. You know what I mean? Like I was going very deep into the psychology behind it, and some of the stuff I'm saying here, it's great. You guys here, like you're all jumping in the community saying this is amazing. But most people, when you're on a consulting call with them, they're freaking out. So I was like, why does no one like that? So I needed to find a pill to make it kind of palatable. And for me, it was niching in podcasting. I hadn't talked about podcasts, but how I found it was in originally the first bit was in our like Facebook chat that we were all in when we were doing Rob's live stream.
Right.
People kept, whenever there was a podcast question, I would always get atted on it, and I was like, well, why are they doing that? Because I'm not the podcast guy. I've never said I was, but you've all been on my show, so maybe that is why. And then I brought on a wonderful creator onto the podcast called Crystal Profit, who's a YouTuber, but also she's a podcaster. That's her thing. So she's a YouTuber about podcasting. And I was chatting to her, and when you meet someone, and she came off air, and I was like, well, I should do what you're doing. And she was like, yeah, you probably should, because there's like nobody doing it, and you know a lot about it. And then I was like, well, maybe that. And then the data was the thing I looked at. So after I'd spoken to her, I'd spoken to people in our group, spoken to Rob a little bit about it, and then I was like, well, I wonder, because I was doing well in shorts at the time. And I was like, I wonder, like, I'm doing really well in shorts. I wonder what it is. And when I started to sieve them out, every short that did like over like 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 views, they were all podcasting. Like you could literally draw a line. It was like talking about Instagram, talking about marketing, talking about TikTok, talking about LinkedIn, like nothing. And then all of a sudden, podcasting, they were all, it was insane. It was one of those moments where it was like, this is right in front of me. And I didn't want to talk about it, because it wasn't something I was massively passionate about.
Gotcha.
The funny thing was, when I started writing content ideas, 100 ideas, 200 ideas, and I was like, maybe I am passionate about this. Like I've just always done it as a way to try and push my message of who I want to be for my own ego. So I say that to lots of people. It's right in front of you. If you can and it's hard. I think just look at the data, look at people around you, ask what they know you for. Like how do they think about you? And I just was looking, and I thought, well, you know what I'm going to be? Then I'm going to be the guy in the podcast industry that comes along and says and shakes up the game and talks about hard work. That was my thing as well, hard work. So it's podcasting and hard work, because I was the only one I met that people were like, oh, you can do one a week, don't worry. And I was like, no, I want someone to be like, if you really want this, do it every day. And not in I like the Gary Vee approach, but Gary Vee didn't have the systems and processes behind it. Whereas I want someone who's like, if you want it, you can do it, and this is how. And so I thought, okay, I'll take those two things. You guys all the creators think I'm really good at making things and being consistent. And then the podcasting is what the consumer seems to want. And then it turns out that, unintentionally, me and Brant were talking about this yesterday, my client seems to be 50-year-old bald guys.
Wow.
Which is not who I intentionally meant to have, but they're all wonderful. So it was, this whole different, it was all there. I just had to look at it.
That's interesting. Very interesting. I love it. Shouts out to you, Mr. Camera Junkie, for hanging out with us today. As this is one of those sessions that we're definitely going to have to replay to get all the details. Like I wanted to stop you like 2 or 3 times to kind of go back and get you to kind of repeat this and repeat that. But I didn't want to, it was just so good. I didn't want to stop you, because it goes down to, hey, making systems and being disciplined with those systems to get the outcome that you want over time. Am I right in saying that?
Exactly.
I think the other thing key that I keyed in on there that I'm a big proponent of, and I do it daily to fault too much, but a lot of people out here are not looking at their analytics. They don't understand how to look at their analytics, and they don't know how to read those analytics. So please, when you're looking at your YouTube studio, go to the analytics section and click on the tab that says more info. And it'll tell you so much. Like, we were starting to do some shorts. I have some shorts that have been doing pretty good, 2,000, 1,300, and they're all getting six subscribers. So the input for that and the output was pretty good compared to, I ran a YouTube ad for the stream show and spent some money and compared that to the shorts, and the shorts performed better than the ad. So, looking at that data to kind of feel it, to figure out what's working, but also to have the humility. I did this 3 or 4 years ago. I was trying to do my resume. I wanted to see what my personal brand was. And I just picked, people in my circle that I really trusted. And I said, what am I to you? And they wrote it all down. And I just, combined that into my mission statement or to my personal brand statement, because they had insights about me that I didn't know. So sometimes it's just to be humble and ask and let people know and be ready for the honest opinions.
This is some good stuff. I promise you, this is going to go down. I got so much content that we're going to be able to repurpose here with Ash. This is amazing, man, that you're sharing this stuff. And I'm hoping that people are getting it. And I say that, I know they are. Kevin Cox just said, that's really cool. Something that you're interested in and passionate about without really knowing it. Like, you just never know sometimes, like, where the information that people want from you. I know that sometimes when you cast a big net, you just never know what you get out of that. And, because they niche down, and we're hearing that and we're hearing it. But when you niche, I believe it needs to be something that you do have, number one, a way that you can give to others, value in that, and something that you want to do to be happy with it and then work hard with it. Does that make sense?
Completely. I think me and Brant were talking about niche yesterday. I talk about it with everybody. I've done videos about it over and over again. I think it gets overused, and I think it can be a real hurdle for so many creators. I know it is for a lot of the brokers and mortgage brokers I work with in the UK. I think, as you're very right, your niche will find you. Just create and figure it out as you go along. Because otherwise, if you're trying to find that perfect niche, it always reminds me of when I was a performer. We'd always try and find the perfect song to audition, and everyone would be looking for the song that no one's ever done before. And we don't realize that it doesn't work that way. You have to just do the same thing over and over again, but it's your personality that comes to the table. I think we often get caught up on it. There's a million people doing the same thing as you, but they will not do it like you. And,
right.
If you just keep going, it'll be there. And this might not be my niche in a year's time, because it always changes, but it is exciting. And it's always been profitable in some way or another. It's always brought me to either profitable either financially or in networking and, spiritually with people and meeting people. It's not always about the money. I think that's something that a lot of people, last year was not as good a year for me. It's all right financially, but it wasn't where I would have wanted it to have been with my goals. But I met all these incredible people that changed the trajectory of where my business was going to go. Right. I never would have known this niche if I hadn't have met you, Rob, Doc, all of these people from, these communities. That would never have happened. I would have just stayed in my lane, done my thing. So I think it's good to just be really open and just more narrow focus as time goes on.
I do think that I'm kind of the anti-niche guy, because I just get frustrated that everybody says it's so easy, find your niche, find your niche. I do think that someone said it in one of our other shows, and we were going to make a shirt, like, you are the niche, right? So I think it's more about personal branding. So if I brand myself as a camera guy, then that's my niche, and I should be doing camera reviews. But if I am, like myself, overall marketing person, and I give myself room to talk about different things, podcasting, streaming, direct mail, email marketing, all these things that I know. So the branding part, becomes a big proponent of it, like not trying to find this one certain passion thing. So if you're a good example, I need to make a spoof video. So I'm going to do it. Like, I'm so niche. All I'm covering on my channel is lens caps. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people look too finite to get this niche, like And I did the search engine result. Nobody's doing this. I can do this. I'm just going to do lens caps, but there's only 5. So that's not going to work, right? So finding that breadth of content, in a niche, I think is also important, but also just being you, because I think sometimes if you follow the formulas, you don't just want to be another Roberto Blake or a Gary Vaynerchuk. You want to be yourself. I mean, yes, you can pull from these people, but you don't want it to be a carbon copy. So figure out a way. If you watched my show yesterday, we did Ash and I did a review of the new Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer, because he likes Star Wars and I like Star Wars. That's another connection that we have and that other people have with us, and maybe follow the other content that we do just because they can relate with that. So it's okay to put some of this relatable content inside of your niche, let's say. So, you don't want to go off the rails, but, it's okay to be who you are.
100%.
I love that. That's good stuff. Ash, what were you going to say?
No, I agree. Completely agree. I think you're right. I think you, that's what you say. What my niche is really is this work ethic, and very open about being transparent about the message. That's when you look at niching, really, that is the one thing through all of it that I got very annoyed that everyone always says it's easy, and it's really not. If it was easy as just doing a YouTube, if it was easy as just searching, no disrespect, love you too, buddy, if it was easy as just finding one search term, putting your tags in, doing a video, it's not that easy. And I just got very frustrated with that. And so that's mine, but that's the way I've always been. Hard work always trumps. The podcast niche, and like you guys, the stream, that's just, I always like to say, your niche is like the road, and this is just the vehicle. Sometimes you're in a scooter, sometimes you're in a car, sometimes you're in a really lovely, amazing vehicle, sometimes you're walking because it's broken down. But the road doesn't change. And I think that is you, that's your personality. And that does change as it gets older and weathers, but it's still the same road.
I love it. Brant, you were going to say something?
I forgot. I get totally. Oh, yeah. I remember. Talk about work ethic. So I found this out about Ash yesterday. Did you know he was a fitness model? Like straight up Men's Health Fitness.
I can see it.
Yeah. That work ethic has to be a lot of this, because you don't just do the 5-10 tips to get to that shape, right? I mean, it's a constant. Because I had this really hard moment with my YouTube channel, and I was trying to lose weight at the same time, and I'd hit this plateau, and then I realized that it's exactly the same. There is no secret sauce. There is no magic pill, whether it's YouTube or losing weight or getting in shape. You got to do the work. You got to do the work, and you've got to, there's days you don't want to get up. There's days you have to stay up late. There's days you have to do the things you don't like to do, and that's what makes you better. And so, for some people say, I don't like to edit, or I don't like to be in front of the camera, I don't like to do this, or I don't, maybe this isn't the job for you, because you're going to have to do these things as you move forward, or hire some people to do it for you, because you're going to have to just do the content. At the end of the day, you just got to make the videos, right?
Absolutely.
So
it makes a huge impact.
This is one of the things that I'm planning to do, Ash, and it's actually done a couple times a year or twice a year with some organizations, but I wanted to focus on Reels, whether it's Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, or TikTok. And short form content, I just believe that it's easier to kind of get people started, to have a habit when we're just talking about making a 15-second video. Like at the end of the day, can you make a 15-second video every day? And basically helping people not only learn the platforms, because I've already done it, I went through it, and I've learned so much about TikTok, Instagram. Like I have my favorite features inside of each of these platforms that helps me edit for that algorithm, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because I do believe you have to use some of the features to kind of catch on. Yeah, they're all different. Yeah. And the accountability you can have with doing content every day with a group and a coach to help you get started, to kind of build your muscle, kind of going into the gym and you got a group class, a aerobics class. So my idea is to help me. I've already done it. I'm working with a group of people, and if anybody wants to be in it. We're starting in April, and I'm just going to hold your hand along with a group, and we're going to do it for 30 days, just making 15-second reels. Like, it's not going to be hard. It's going to make it really simple. They can be, hey, hey, this is Strick. I'm a content creator. If you like creating content, you like lights, you like cameras, you like microphones, guess what? Follow me. And that's your reel for the day. It could be really simple like that. And you say, well, how do you gain traction from that? It's not the traction. It is the muscle. Your particular muscle to put in the work. So as you begin to do that muscle, now we'll go from 15 seconds to 30, from 30 seconds to a minute, from a minute to 3 minutes. And then we're making longer short form content, 5-minute tutorial on how to do something. And we can put that on YouTube, which is, in my way, my opinion, the ultimate place for a content creator to gain monetization. That's my plan. What do you think about that?
I think it's a brilliant idea. I think it's actually exactly how I started. So it's so funny. I started doing 15-second videos in 2017 because I was trying to learn. I didn't know. I was all right on the camera, but I couldn't edit. So yeah, you build yourself up. When I work with a client, we were using teleprompters a lot in the finance sector because they have to be compliant. So we were using teleprompters, and that was how we do it. You're going to do a 15-second teleprompter because it's hard to sound bad for 15 seconds.
Right.
And then we'd build up, and you build it up over and over again until the end, where eventually, and you would know this, guys, from being presenters and being in TV and radio, is that's a skill. And I was like, your first 100 videos are going to be terrible and that's fine. That's not a bad thing. Everyone's videos are bad. But you have to learn how to do it. I was saying this in Ian Anderson Gray's live show, that the reason why I do daily content is because I could fail faster.
Wow.
That's it. It's just reps. That's all it is. There's a couple of things. The gym is a very
Ash,
big part.
I'm sorry, Ash. I didn't interrupt you last time.
Go.
I didn't. But I have to interrupt you this time because I don't want to speed past you saying that you want to fail fast. Let's break that down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there is a cycle of learning that you have to do to be a great content creator anyway. And what you're saying is, you knew ahead of time that you're going to make some bad videos.
Very bad. Yeah, so I made a decision last year, and I'm moving over to Ecamm. So I'll say it here, but I use StreamYard because I'm still on PC until because of the chip shortage. So hurry up, Apple. But I made a decision a year ago, about 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, where I was like, if I invest in some tech, and I get Stream Deck and I get this stuff, I could probably make a semi-decent video. I thought I could. So I was like, I thought I could potentially make a semi-decent video. It doesn't look, it looks slightly edited. You wouldn't know that it's just like what you're doing here, really, all this stuff. And I was like, but I'm not going to be very good at it because you've got to produce it and you've got to do it in real time, and that's going to be really hard. So I decided to go live every day, and I went live every day for 173 days straight.
Wow.
And talking about anything I could about personal branding and things, and so much stuff happened. But the reason why I did it, and everyone would say, like, why? And it was purely because the first day I might forget the words. The second day, I forgot to bring the slides up. The third day, I forgot to run the intro. The fourth day, I played the outro, and then I was still on screen. But what I made a rule to myself. It was like, don't edit, don't put it in the there afterwards, and clean it up, like live to tape every single time. And it's amazing, by the way, all you guys watching this and listening to this. It's amazing how quickly you improve, because you don't want to look like an idiot on day. If you forget to take that thing off screen, take yourself off screen, and so you're stood there at the end of the video like, oh, you won't do that tomorrow, I can tell you that right now. So you'll remember it. And you know what I mean? Yep. And so what started to happen was, over time, I created it to the point where, like, I actually was speaking with StreamYard about it, and they were like, you're using this, we didn't intend the software to be used this way. And I was like, yeah, but with this add-on and this add-on. That's why I'm so excited about getting Ecamm, because I'm like, we can do some crazy stuff now.
Right.
But if you drop me into Ecamm, I wouldn't have been ready for Ecamm, because what it is, like you say, it's a muscle, but it's like the brain. It's like the capability. You have to be able to expand your brain. Now I have B-roll happening at the same time while I'm talking, while I'm bringing in guests, while I'm bringing in clips. And all of it happens, you know, with new different type of gear to be able to, you know, move with my hand slightly. Like everything happened, but it started by just going, I'm happy to just make these videos look rubbish and don't worry about that. So that was the failing fast. And now, like, it's insane. People don't even notice the difference, but they will when I go onto Ecamm, because it's all going to start again because I don't know the software again. So as soon as I jump on, it'll be like, and we're back at square one again. But you have to, yeah, I think it's something you just got to lean into it.
I love that. Brant, what do you think?
You know, I think that's why we do live, because I know I'm that way. If I record it, I'll do it 5 times, 10 times. If I skip lines, I can't, you know, 9 times out of 10, even when you shoot video, you'll do 2 or 3 takes, and it's always the first one, you know, because you just overthink yourself. It's just something about it. Strick and I both have this, you know, background of doing this, you know, for television or in radio, so it's just kind of second nature. But, you know, you can just turn on a camera and go is easier for me than trying to write a script and remember it and plan it out and, you know, read a teleprompter, because then it just, you know, I'll fumble it all up. So but yeah, and going live could just be the thing that you don't have to have anything but your phone. So if you want to get started in this and you want to even see if this is what you want to do the 170 days live from your phone. You don't need any other equipment, no microphones, no lights. Go outside, walk, do whatever you need to do, and try to find your way, find your voice, find your, you know, your passion, find your viewers. You can all just experiment it in real time, and that's what this technology is. And that's the difference between today and from when we were in broadcast. You know, you spend all this money on a show, then it comes out. I can remember when I worked at UPN 38, it might run 2 weeks and they cancel it because it didn't work. You know, now everybody's just failing fast as they can and producing content because the technology is keeping up with that. So you kind of just have to, you know, you've got the built-in hack right there. It's just the phone and the internet and go live.
Absolutely. I love it. Now, I was doing some phone content. So I talked about this on Ash's show. I believe that our iPhones and the latest and greatest Android are all the same. They have so much technology in them. I mean, you have a real broadcast studio. So now I'm creating this short form content. I'm not using a lapel mic connected. I'm talking into the phone. I did a voiceover for a short inside of my phone, talking and you cannot tell. Like, I have a Shure mic. I'm sure if I put it next to the Shure mic, and I'm also sure that there's got to be some processing inside of these softwares to kind of do something with the audio, because it sounds great. I don't hear a lot of noise in the background or anything. I was at the kitchen table doing a voiceover into my phone. Like, I'm saying all these things to kind of help people get over some of those hurdles with hard work. So I do want to go to this real quick. Hannity added that in order for you to be able to get to the top of the stairs, me and Brant say it differently. We have another thing we say about eating an elephant. You got to go one bite at a time. You have to go one stair at a time. I think what gets people so excited is that we do from time to time see those people that we perceive jump to the top of the stairs in one leap, and we don't see all the work they put behind it to get there. You know, it's kind of like even in music, you feel, oh, what is this person just kind of blew up overnight, and they tell you, well, no, I've been doing this for 20 years. This song just finally hit. You know, it's those things that we see that excites us to where you see someone with 2,000 subscribers and then they had 10,000 subscribers. You're trying to figure out, like, I want to do what they did, and whatever they're doing, I want to do that. But that's not always the case. Like, you still have to walk the stairs. This person found that right step that may have catapulted them, but it may not be the same story for you.
But if you buy my course right now, I can show you 3 simple steps to get to the top step.
$97.99, right? Brother.
But I think that's, you know, one of the things I find disingenuous with YouTube that I have a hard time, because, you know, we talk about selling courses and stuff, is it is kind of, some of it is kind of, you know, disingenuous. It's, you know, 5 simple tips and going to have you the secret plan, or we're going to do this and do that. And I also watched a video about making thumbnail clips, and it was straight up clickbait. Like, hey, watch my review of this toothbrush. And then he put a picture of Kim Kardashian and was like, Kim Kardashian uses this toothbrush. Well, that's just a bold-faced lie, right? So there's this fine line between, there's so much self-help-ish. And I'm the number one person. I bought all the Seth Godin books. I bought all the Gary Vaynerchuk books. I'm a self-help person. I love all those things. So it is a trap that you can fall into. It's just like, I just need one more course, one more book. This one's going to have the secret, and it's always going to just end up being, you got to do the work, right?
Yeah, I think one of the things that, like, you said about the gym, like with all of this, the thing that really was like a penny drop moment, and Strick, me and you were speaking about this, about me uploading a lot of content when you were on my show. You were chatting about this off air with me. And I had this moment, it was like, and people watching this, you might feel like this, but it's like, if I do more, then it'll come quicker. That was my thing. I don't know if you ever relate to this or not, but it was like, if I do, a video every single day, then I'm gonna get to the top quicker than anyone else who's doing it one a week. It's just gonna happen. And if I do that, I'm 7 years. I was even told myself this thing of like, if I do, an average person does one video a week. If I do one a day, then I'm 7 years ahead of them by the end of the first year, and I'm 14. And I was always telling myself this, where it actually was a penny drop moment. And this is like a real, like, I love this. And I'd love to say it was my thing, but it's not. It's my wife again. But my wife, obviously, she grows. She's a grower. She's an allotment. We live on the land. She lives on the land. She does all this type of stuff. And nature has a real great way of showing us how things really happen. Like, we're not this kind of fake world that we live in. It's real. And what it was she was talking about planting these apple trees. And she was planting these apple trees, and I was like, we were just chatting about content, and I was like, no amount of, if I planted 10 apple trees, it doesn't speed up the growth of the apple tree. It doesn't, do you know what I mean? There was like, wait a minute, there's no way of speeding this up. And so I was looking at it, I was like, okay, why am I going every single day? And this is something for people to listen if you're doing daily content or volume. What I started to realize is these people are overnight successes. If you plant one apple tree, it might take 10 years to grow and mature and bear fruit. If you plant 10 apple trees at the same time, it's still going to take 10 years for that to mature. But at the end of those 10 years, you'll have 10 times more fruit. And I think that was a weird moment for me, and I think all creators need to see this, is that we're in a world where it's instant gratification and more. And if you do more videos, you'll get more views. And TikTok and Shorts are feeding this a little bit, but it's not really real.
Right.
And actually what it is that's those overnight successes. The ones who you see that are big overnight successes is that they're bearing fruit because they've put a lot of the work in and you've not seen it for so long. And then everything's coming finally to fruition. And it's like, wow, you did a lot of work. And it's like, yeah, but it was like a decade ago. And I think that we're seeing this with the people we see on YouTube and people, and the one common thing is they've been around for a long, long, long time. That's it. There's no other way around it.
I love
there's
it.
There's another gardening tree thing that goes with that is, when the best time to plant a tree is, right? Today, right? Because when you look at an orchard and you're like, man, I'm never going to get to that orchard. Well, start planting one today, and you will. Yeah. So you have to plant that tree, and you have to have all those. I'm a gardener too, so I know people would say I'm a in case the apocalypse comes, I'm saving seeds. And I was like, you know how to plant them? They're like, no. I was like, I failed a bunch. I killed a lot of stuff before. You can't just throw it in the ground. So you have to practice. So same thing. And I've always said that social media and content and all this stuff, when I consult my clients, I say it's like a garden. You have to work the garden to make things grow. If you ignore the garden, it either dries up and dies or it gets overrun with weeds. And there's nothing you can do. Now there's tips and there's tricks and there's, you can lay down mulch. You can do these other things, right? And I think that same thing with, the tips and tricks that we teach people to do to make more out of their content. But at the end of the day, you just have to always tend to it. And I'm terrible about it. It's too much looking at the analytics. I shouldn't do that because I do get stressed out about it. But, you got to find that happy medium, and you do have to just produce the content. I just don't think there's any way around it, No,
there isn't. It's like losing weight. People used to do it with the fitness thing about being a fitness model. That's why the fitness industry is so big and there's so many supplements. Well, the reason why is everyone's trying to find that quick fix. But the reality is move more and eat less. And if you move more and eat less, you'll get what you want. And it's exactly the same with this. Where people go, I want to be a successful content creator. I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a podcaster. Okay, what are you doing? Well, I'll tell you the trick. Record a video and upload it. I've got all these ideas, but have you uploaded? I'm scared of what people think. Well, the fastest way to not succeed is to not upload that video. So it's just a really weird one. I had a guy on my other podcast, which is a mortgage podcast, and was like the first nicher in the UK. Like you niched in this and I said to him, why did you make content? And he's not a big content creator. He's not a big, he doesn't love all the cameras. And I said, why? And he said, Ash, I have kids to feed. He said, I have to. He said, and I was like, what do you mean? He said, I looked at it and he said, and I was like, I don't have a choice.
Wow.
I need to do this. And he was like, so it wasn't even, he said, I didn't worry about what people thought. I just went, that's what I need to do. I've chosen this as my career. That's the thing I need to do. Do it. Because the alternative was unthinkable. And I think sometimes that's where we have to, if you really want it, but you're worried about getting in front of the camera, then do you really want it as much as you think you do?
That's true. That's true. Listen, this is what's going to happen, Ash, with all of the content that you have. I may have said this, so I may be repeating myself with you. With all of the content you have, all of the content you are creating, what's going to happen is when you go viral on one of those videos, guess what? People have all that other content to go through. So then
there's all those apples out there.
Yeah, all those apples. Now people can go from one video to the next and gain a lot of information. So what happens with people, we've seen it, content creators that go viral on one thing, but they have nothing else for people to look at. But if you're building content and you're building it the right way and you have that video that goes viral and it's right in the same vein, now everything is going viral and people, they would see you as that content creator that is now the source of information, and you'll be able to do whatever you want to do.
That's the goal.
Literally will.
I don't want it. You don't want it to go to one of my clients had a video do well. A new creator, 100, 200 subscribers or whatever, and he did a video a year ago, and then it just kind of blew up, so to speak, but 18,000 views in 24 hours on normal, not short, a normal video. But the problem we had was we actually stopped making content on that niche because that video didn't do very well.
Wow.
And so his channel, we done those views, but it didn't make any difference. And that was maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And so I came downstairs and I said to my wife about it because I saw it and she was downstairs making food. And I came downstairs and went, this will work. I said, as in what we're doing, or I'm doing. I said, this will work. I said, because I don't want this to happen for another couple of years. I said, because I need to have 1,000.
There you go.
I said, I need to be that you can't search the word podcast and my face not appear.
There you go.
I said, and at that point, then it will be, you don't want it too early. I've seen that happen. You see that with TikTok. Someone gets a video go viral when they're figuring it out still, and then it's like, oh, now what do I do? Because now I'm stuck making this one thing, and that's all my people want. So
same thing happens to artists or actors or designers or painters. Or you get that one thing, and then you just I'm doubling down on that, and then it might not just been a fluke. You never know. So or the success and the pressure gets to you.
So have we got String coming on yet? Is she here yet?
No, she's not here yet, and the time change really messed us up. Yeah. But we've had a great time with you, Ash, man. Thank you so very much. We talk about hard work. What is it, after midnight over there for you? And you're hanging out with the stream show?
Yeah, it's 12:30, 12:24. Well, I thought this was going to be at 12 o'clock, so I'm just used to it. This is the third time I've been on your show. I'm on people's shows like this all the time. I love it. And I don't mind staying up.
We sure love having you. So Brant and I have already talked about this. We're not gonna always be the stream guys on the stream show. The stream show has a particular content for streamers. You understand this world, so some of these days we may ask, hey, can you come on and help? Host one of these things for us and see how that goes. What do you think?
I'm up for anything. I love you guys. I think it's awesome. Yeah, 100%.
Let's get his Ecamm come in, and we'll get him caught up on how to do the Ecamm. So
there you go.
He can run the show one night.
Well,
absolutely, that'll be cool.
We definitely appreciate the content. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm just at awe at what you're doing, and I know I see your stuff, commented on it. If you're seeing Ash out there, I need you to like it. I need you to comment and share some of the things he's doing, because he's really helping people with his content. Ash, hold what you got for just 1 second. Brant, man, what a awesome show today. Like, I believe I'm just going to send you a Cash App and pay you for coming on doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, this was a great show. I think Ash brings a lot of real world knowledge, not a lot of fake, gonna make it, just by this 2 simple steps. It's just hard work. And in a niche that probably isn't, what you would think of, mortgage brokering. So, just follow Ash. If you're not I follow his stuff, even though I'm not into the mortgage stuff, just because of his work ethic and his delivery and how he communicates with his community. So I think he's great. So go follow him, and just kind of look yourself in the mirror and decide, do you really want to do this as a content creator, and how hard are you willing to try?
Brant, that being said, when's your next show?
There you go. I need to do it more often. I need to do my show every weekly. I haven't got on a weekly schedule yet, so I do. How about you? And
I'm the
Strick
same thing.
City.
Like, I'm so focused on the stream show right now and what we're doing.
Right.
I have lasered my focus on doing a lot of work here, and of course my wife keeps me busy. So, oh my God, if y'all don't know Kim Scott, y'all need to look her up. Kim Scott, jazz flutist. Check her out. Check her music out. We got a new song called Shine that is in new and active on the Billboard chart. So we're climbing the charts right now.
Awesome. I'm so excited.
Same time next Sunday. So since the time change, it will be a weekend, 6 p.m.
Yeah, everybody
Central Standard Time. 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. I guarantee you we'll have another guest that's going to give you tons and tons and tons of information to help you level up your live stream, to help you be successful. All right, that's it. That's it for us. Hey, Brent, I'll see you next Sunday.
We're out.